Our next speaker is Mark Dixon, the CEO of Wodonga TAFE, an institute that was recently awarded Large Training Provider of the Year here in Victoria. Mark provides leadership and advice to the Wodonga TAFE board on establishing objectives, policies, priorities and plans for the institute. Please make him welcome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And when we talk of leveraging industry connections to deliver future-focused training, for a regional TAFE like Wodonga, the first step is to ensure that the basic building blocks of solid industry engagement are in place. Now, this may not seem earth-shattering or a revolutionary way to future-proof jobs, but this foundation allows TAFEs to fundamentally change training outcomes for our industry partners and our students. It ensures we are absolutely aligned to industry needs, working with them to innovate, and then being genuinely agile in changing our training to meet their new and emerging requirements. I would summarise this as aspiring to be brilliant at the basics. And the basics are about true engagement with industry, listening to their unique needs, adapting to meet those needs, and forming those long-term trusted partnerships and collaborations with them to achieve a shared common goal. Let me give you 3 quick examples of how we think we've achieved this at our TAFE. So my first example is Wodonga TAFE and the work we've done with the Australian Defence Force. And over a period of about 5 years, we've rapidly become their provider of first choice, particularly in the logistics and classical trade space. We're currently supporting the Army School of Logistics, the Army School of Health, Army School of Ordnance, and most recently the Army School of Electrical and Mechanical Engineering, ASEME. Our most recent ASEME contract signing was the largest, we believe, ever Victorian training contract signed with Defence, and has created 100 new teaching jobs in regional Victoria this year. Critical to winning that contract was a decision we made to adopt a strategic partnership framework that saw Wodonga TAFE lead a multi-TAFE collaboration, an important step where the Victorian TAFE network came together to create a strategic outcome. Collaborating in this case with Chisholm and Box Hill Institutes allowed us to combine the expertise of numerous Victorian TAFEs and heighten our collective capability to deliver to and meet the needs of a large and highly complex national client. Key to our continued success with Defence is the investment we make into understanding their specific requirements and working to deliver on their current and future needs. Central to this is addressing some of the enterprise skills we've heard a lot about over the last couple of days. And a good example would be digitisation. We supported Defence to adopt a new digital training strategy into their delivery. This has included providing our own high-speed infrastructure and hardware across the Defence Force barracks. Effectively, we've created a TAFE within the industry site. We've also created innovation centres within the barracks that allow us to support learners at all times of day, out of hours as well, but also allows us to sit down with our client to constantly evolve our training and look at enhancements. We've influenced policy changes for the digital learners in Defence and overcome the challenges of a Defence-restricted network. And we've used skills tracking software, a mobile platform to manage on-the-job training where the Defence Force send their trainees to every state in the country, and we still need to manage them. And I think finally and importantly, what we've done is we've given those Defence Force students and Defence Force members some really high-quality qualifications that will stand them in good stead for their Army career, but also when they then subsequently transition back into our communities. Staying with Defence, I thought I'd share their perspective on how our training outcomes are proceeding, in this case with the Army School of Health.
In developing Australian Army's future combat medics. The course itself is an 18-month course, the majority of which is provided by contracted staff from TAFE. The first approximate 8 months of the course is Diploma of Enrolled Nursing, and that's highly intensive and condensed comparative to other counterparts In that regards, Wodonga Institute of TAFE do a fantastic job in being able to meet our requirements and work with us to ensure that not only do we still deliver a high standard of training, resulting in a high quality medic, but also simultaneously do that under significant time constraints compared to other educational programs. The other part of the course that Wodonga Institute of TAFE provides is the Diploma of Paramedical Science, which is also completed in a condensed time frame, again with similar constraints upon it. Particularly, I can't praise highly enough Wodonga Institute of TAFE in regards to the manner in which they are able to adapt and be flexible, particularly noting the constraints placed upon them by our training demands. A lot of the time, the medical issues, the welfare issues, and the management of trainees that we cater for is a significant complicating factor that impacts on the medics' training. Luckily for us, the rapport we've built up with the staff here over the past couple of contracts, and we're lucky to have just recently extended the contract with Wodonga Institute of TAFE for another couple of years. But the rapport we've built up with them has really enabled us to get a good understanding of each other's systems and processes so that we're able to, as much as possible, get these medics through to the end of their 18 months training on time and with as few complications as possible.
My second example comes from the agricultural sector, which is clearly one of our areas of expertise within regional Victoria. I've chosen our close industry relationship and partnership with Elders Australia, a national provider of stock and station agents. In this example, our staff work closely with the leadership team of Elders over a period of time to move away from the traditional off-the-shelf agricultural qualifications to design and deliver a program that specifically meets the needs of the modern stock and station agent. This led to the inclusion of topics such as auctioneering, the transport of livestock for sale, and providing quality advice on products and services to their customers. We also ensured that Elders' own internal policies and procedures were incorporated as key components into our Cert 4 in Agriculture program, so that the trainees see clear linkages and absolute relevance between the training they get with us and the real-life scenarios faced in the Elders' workplace. To ensure a consistent nationwide outcome, we also adapted our delivery to provide week-long workshops multiple times a year in Wodonga with trainees and experts from Elders travelling from all over the country to deliver that training on our site. It's another great example. And my last example is in our work to look at transport and the opportunity for more women to enter this important sector. Now, this isn't about innovation again, but it is about looking at the future needs of an industry that's growing and how we actually meet that. And our Driving Education Centre of Australia, a part of our transport division, is recognised as a major player in the transport industry. It's an industry where only 5% of that industry positions are filled by women. You know, why is that the case? Particularly in an ageing workforce, and particularly when they're seeing demand that they can't meet in terms of well-trained employees. So Wodonga TAFE developed a partnership with the Transport Women of Australia, Lynn Fox, Australia Post and Volvo to run a dedicated program specifically for women. We overcome lots of the traditional barriers around this and worked with those organisations to address issues such as women's health, sexism in a male-dominated industry, and mapping female-friendly facilities on transport routes. To complete the transition, we also worked with Lynn Fox and Australia Post to make sure their workplaces were ready for that change. And in this sense, our work with those organisations has really helped them to address diversity and equity in a male-dominated industry. It's been hugely successful, and everybody so far that's entered that program is now employed with Lynn Fox or Australia Post. So what do all these examples discussed thus far mean? Well, our TAFE has now achieved a government-funded fee-for-service split of 40% government-funded and 60% fee-for-service. So it's almost a commercial model where we operate as an enterprise RTO, and we successfully embed ourselves into our clients' operations. There's probably no better way for our students to learn. A shared vision between the TAFE and our clients to help us achieve the highest quality of training outcomes for for those involved in our training. So in summarising, my presentation today is focused on adapting future training needs. My presentation today hasn't focused on adapting future training needs and new enterprise skill sets or creating new jobs or whole new markets. It has really highlighted the importance of how we need to collaborate and cooperate with industry to customise their training needs for all sorts of businesses of every size. In conclusion, the ecosystem between training providers and in industry is critical, and there's always room for improvement. Thank you.